Hi everyone. I just had to repeat this again, so I think I'll get you a more condensed and probably just this full version. But I want to talk really briefly to you about editing. It's a two-step process. The first step is content editing, and that's easy to brush over. What content editing involves is looking at your content. Did you put in good examples? Are your resources good? Are your sources valid? Did you develop your critical commentary in relation to plot comments or character comments? Did you have a clear beginning and end? Are your topic sentences good? Is your thesis sentence solid? This doesn't look at grammar. Doesn't look at spelling. It's literally just your content. What are you trying to tell us? There's a really good acronym I use, FACT, F-A-C-T. The first part is an F. It stands for fit. Does your paper fit together? What this means is you read it. Keep in mind what you are trying to write about. In your final paper, we're talking about theme, literary devices. We're talking about the popularity of the books in relation to it, and we're comparing two novels. Does your paper click all of those marks? Are you discussing them? Are they cohesive? Look for the fit. Does it work together? Then we go to the add. Adding is not as difficult for a lot of writers because we think of other ideas as we write, especially if we're not a planner and we wrote off the cuff like I do, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you do it as well. What we do is we add information. Oh, I thought of this great idea here, but I didn't build it up. Or, oh, I just was skimming through the book again looking for a quote to back up what I said, and I found this other quote that's awesome, and I think it needs to be discussed. Or I happened to have found another academic article because I was looking for information and it just happened to come across, and I think I need to use it. That is all they add. You add all that sort of information. And remember, it needs to go with what you're talking about. Then we go to the C, which is cut. And this is hard. This is really hard for writers for two reasons. One, a lot of times there's requirements for papers, whether they're length requirements or word requirements. We don't like to cut things when we know, okay, to write a good paper, it's got to be at least 4 pages, and if I cut this paragraph, I go down to 2, and that can get difficult. But the bigger reason why cutting is hard for us as writers is because we're cutting out information that we put a lot of effort into. We know that sometimes it's not needed, but we put a lot of effort into our writing. We put the effort into the words. Maybe we wrote something we thought that sounded amazing. It doesn't mean it belongs in that paper. It's hard to do, but you need to do it. If it doesn't fit, if it doesn't make sense, move it. I'm not saying you have to hit the delete button. I have a file on my computer filled with scraps from papers and fiction I've written because I couldn't quite hit the delete button. I cut it and pasted it. So you can do that too. But it shouldn't be in your paper. If it doesn't fit, it has to go. So get rid of it. The last portion is the T, which is tests. Basically what we do when we talk about tests is we reread the paper with the new added stuff and the new stuff that we've cut. So our paper should look a little different. Sometimes we're more add heavy and sometimes we're more cut heavy. Sometimes it's pretty balanced. But either way, when you reread it, you're testing it. Does it fit? Does the whole paper work together? If it does, great. You're in a wonderful spot. If it doesn't, go back and edit. It doesn't matter if you have to do this step 4 or 5 times. What matters is that you get it done well. It will affect the outcome of your paper, its readability, your credibility as a writer. The second part of editing is one I think a lot of us are more familiar and more comfortable with. This is the proofreading portion of editing. Basically what we do when we do this portion is we look for spelling mistakes, we look for sentence structure mistakes, comma mistakes, citation mistakes. Do we forget periods? Do we forget to dot I's, cross T's, whatever? It's all the nitty-gritty technical stuff when it goes with writing. Make sure you look for that. I've marked some. Your word processor will mark it, but do not take those for granted or by themselves. Word sometimes spells words wrong. I miss things. Your peers will miss things. It's your job to make sure it's good at the end. Now, when you go through the editing, before you actually start either process, I want to ask you to put your paper aside on this Sunday for a day or two. Read it over when you get it back. Look at the comments I've made. Look at the comments your peers have made. See what the situation is. But then put it away. Stick it in a drawer. Don't look at it. Don't talk to it. Don't do anything with it. Spend time with friends, family, children, books, movies, other things. Do other homework. Do not touch the paper. We need distance from what we're saying. Without that distance, we cannot write effectively because we only see what we thought we said. But sometimes what we think we say doesn't quite work the way we meant it to. So separate yourself. If you separate yourself, you'll be in a much better spot. Only a day or two. We don't have that long. Some of you are going to need multiple drafts. Some of you might only need a draft or two more. You're all in different stages of the writing. So what I want you to do is put it away and then look at it. If you feel that you can let it sit for an extra couple days, do it. If not, take it out after 1 or 2. Okay, your paper will be much better for it. Those are my comments I want to make as you move into editing for next week. I thought speaking them would work better than writing them because it's a lot of information. Really quickly, before I let you guys go, I am almost done grading your drafts. I have about 8 students left. They will be done by either today or tomorrow. So please, you can start checking your grades. I went alphabetically from A to Z this time, so that might help you figure out if you should check it right now or if you should check it later. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay? Thanks, guys.